Hello guys and welcome back. Today we're going to be running over how to use the petrol intake decarb and also how varying types of applications for doing your chrome deletes get affected by sun and being out in the weather, and also how they stand up to four-wheel drive abuse. First of all, this is what I was talking about in our last maintenance video. This is the mass airflow sensor cleaner. This is the proper stuff to clean it properly. Make sure you have some of this laying around somewhere. This is CRC brand. Plenty of others out there that are a bit cheaper, but this is good stuff, and yep, this is what you need to be able to clean it properly. Obviously it's got the directions on the back and runs you through how to do it. And it's quite simple, and we'll go over that as we move back to the car. So this here is your liquid moly petrol engine intake decarb, and its job is to decarbonize your cylinders and also your intake system as well. To really check if it's doing a proper sort of job, you'd have to get a bore scope in and actually have a look and check what it's actually doing over the life of doing this, and sort of compare how the carbon levels are. But it's got directions on the back here, so it's fairly simple to do, and it's a little bit expensive. It's about $31 at Super Cheap Auto, so it's a little bit costly, but it's good preventative maintenance, and make sure that you always have all that V8 grunt when you need it. So basically it just says, open up direct access into the throttle body, and you use the hose that comes with it, and you need two people to do this properly. And it just says, you want to have somebody in the car basically keeping the revs at 2000 RPM, and then after you've sprayed it in, allow the engine to run for about another 20 seconds at a minimum of 2000 RPM. Probably best to go up to 3.5, 4 even. Don't modulate the accelerator pedal, just leave it at a constant RPM, then turn it off. You will notice that the car will probably throw a heap of smoke out the exhaust. Completely normal, don't worry about that. That is what it's supposed to do. It may even want to stall or sound like it is going to stall. That's why you have another person inside the car to just keep them RPMs around the 2000 RPM mark. Yeah, that'll help to break down all that carbon and crap that is inside the engine. So let's move over to the car and I'll show you how it's done. So this here is your MAF sensor. This is the plug that goes on top of it, and for me with my airbox, got some Allen head bolts here. I just undo these and the sensor comes out of here. So obviously it is on the side that is getting the nice filtered air, but little microparticles and stuff of dirt and dust can get onto that, and you just give it a good spray with the MAF sensor cleaner, leave it to dry, chuck it back in, and you're good to go. Now with the decarb, for me it's a little bit difficult because there's not a heap of room here for my actual intake into the throttle body, but you just take these few bolts off for the clamps. There's one here, and there's also one over here as well. I need to take the engine cover off to get to it properly, but you just take that off, and then with obviously it running, you poke this little tube down it into the throttle body. Got a bit of dust on mine, it's not so good. So you poke this little tube down into the throttle body, and as you can see, it's got like this, a star or triangle almost pattern that it sprays out. And that just helps to spray plenty of the solvent everywhere to make sure it gets down into all the parts that it needs to. So you basically just poke that down into the throttle body and give it a good spray for, I don't know, about 10 to 20 seconds. Some people just use the whole can. I mean, it's up to you. Some of this is better than none of it, so I go for about 20 to 25 seconds, something like that. and then yeah, you just follow directions to the can and away you go. So it's a pretty simple process. Stick that down there, maintain your revs, and then, you know, once you've done your time, just take it out and yeah, you're done. Simple. So it's a very quick, easy process, and it saves your engine and allows it to run happily without the amount of carbon build-up that it would otherwise if you didn't do this. So it is quite an important little piece of maintenance to do. Also, do this before you have a service, then dump the oil and the filter as well, and then put new stuff in. Alrighty, so as you may remember, I did a few videos on how to paint your chrome pieces and do a chrome delete. Now, secretly in that video, I wanted to use all the different things that people use to black out their chrome, just in a way to sort of see which was best on the car. So all these methods have been on the car for at least 6 months now, maybe a little bit less for the paint, but the majority of it would have been on there for at least 6 months, as it's coming on a year of ownership of the Petrol, so it's definitely been on there a little while. So let's start at the front here with the paint. Now I've gone with the paint because it is a better option and it does look a heap nicer. So this has been painted on, and it's also had a clear coat over the top as well. And I mean, you can see there's a few bug marks and stuff on there, but you can see here there's a few paint chips, and just from where rocks and crap has hit the car. You can also see more of the paint chipping here as well. Now this does, you know, it is something that's going to happen, and it's going to have to require maintenance. So you are going to have to, you know, sand this back and, you know, redo it when it starts to get really bad. So it will require some maintenance, being sanded back and redone. It just depends on, you know, how fussy you're going to be with it. At this stage it's not too bad, and I'm not too concerned with it. From a distance you can't really tell, but you could always just, you know, go over this again with some more black spray paint and it'll cover that up. But it's probably best to just sand it back and do it properly again, just so you're not getting massive layers of paint all over this, and at least then it'll be all nice and cleaned up. So paint is the go, and on the front I would probably, I don't know, do a nice glossy wrap if you could, because it's a lot easier to redo. It's a little bit more expensive and there's a lot more time involved in it, but it's probably a bit harder wearing on the front of the car just because of, you know, stone chips. So that's what I would do on the front, although for me, personal preference, I do like the look of the paint. I think it does look quite good, and that's what I'll probably continue to do. But, you know, I would recommend doing a wrap on the front just for the durability of a nice glossy wrap, for its strength, but as we go around the car, you'll hear my thoughts on the wrap. This is the door handles, and the door handles were wrapped, so you can see they're not as black as they once were. They have started to fade a little bit, although the durability is still good. I mean, it still feels quite nice, and there's no you know, tearing or anything in the door handles. They've handled forward driving and stuff well. There's no scratches in them. You know, they look quite good considering where the car's been and what it's done. So durability wise, like I was saying before, they are quite good. They do hide the scratches quite well. I mean, if you looked hard enough, you can sort of see some scratches and stuff in them, although they're definitely not too bad. Disregard the little water spots and whatnot. The sprinkler always hits the car, and there's plenty of minerals in the water, so it just, yeah, makes it look like this. But the colour just has faded a lot from the sun. That's sort of the downside of the wrap. It will fade eventually, and again will require getting redone, but it depends on how fussy you are. But for durability wise, the wrap's really good, and that's why I put it on the front. But again, it will fade eventually, just from the sun and you know, the weather conditions and stuff like that. So that's one of the downsides of the wrap. Now we move to the rear, and on the rear it's a little bit different. I've got painted bits above the lights. On the rear it's fantastic. I mean, these will never get damaged unless I reverse into something or something like that, but these will never get damaged from rocks or anything like that, so they'll just sit here quite happily. And you can see the difference between these two. These are a lot more glossy and a lot more black, and they look really good. especially with the clear coat. They'll be protected for quite some time. They won't fade as badly as the rest of the things will. And this centerpiece is done with Plastidip, and you can see it is such a contrast between the two. This is nice and black, and then this is almost going a grey. Now this is definitely the cheapest and easiest way of doing your chrome delete, but I mean, as you can see, starting to have tears here, starting to peel away at the top here, and as I mentioned, the fading as well. So the Plastidip, while easy and cheap, probably isn't the best way to go, just because you're going to have to be reapplying this quite often, because you can see, you know, this is faded really badly and does look quite poor contrasted with the nice painted bits. So again, it's really personal preference, but I definitely will go with the paint. So to sum things up, I would do a mix of two. I would do the front in a nice glossy wrap, and then I'd match the rest of the car with a paint that is similar or exact to the wrap that you've chosen. Just for the wrap's durability on the front, although the cost is a lot higher, it'll last a lot longer, so it's sort of negated a little bit if you're doing a lot of spray painting. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, I'd spray paint the rest of the car. That doesn't really see the sort of damage and stress that the front of the car does with the stone chips and the other abrasive stuff that comes off the road. And it's also the first place to get hit if you're doing four-wheel driving and you're going through, going through sticks and brush and trees and things like that. So that's the first part that'll get hit. But to be honest, it hasn't done too bad, and a few stone chips here and there are to be expected, and it's not that bad. But again, it really does come down to your personal circumstances and what you want to do. If you just want to go the cheap, quick, easy way of doing the Plastidip, absolutely go for it. If you want to spend a bit more money and actually do a wrap, well, that's also great, but it will start to fade and lose its colour after time, but it is a lot more durable. Or if you want to go the paint, which is a little bit time consuming and a little bit fiddly, it's not so much expensive as doing a Plastidip, a lot cheaper than doing a wrap, but it won't last as long as a wrap. So it's really down to you and your personal preference. But like I mentioned before, that'd be the combination I'd do. Wrap on the front for the durability, and then paint the rest just for the lasting colour, and also it's a bit easier than fiddling around with a wrap. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Big Merry Christmas to all you guys and your family. I very much appreciate all your support this year. It's been fantastic, and I've really been blown away just by how quickly the channel has gained traction, and all the positive comments and the people, you know, supporting me, and also passing on information to me as well, which has just been fantastic. And I really look forward to doing this next year with all you guys on board as well. It's been great, and I really look forward to the future of this channel and being able to help you guys with your patrols, and getting out there and showing you, all the good and bad bits about the Petrol. It's been fantastic. So I hope you all have a very safe and a very Merry Christmas. I hope you guys are getting plenty of presents for your patrols. Get out there and enjoy them, and I hope you have some really great holidays, some great adventures out in your patrol. I hope you guys have got some time off work to be able to actually go out and enjoy them, because they are a fantastic car and they are great for exploring the Australian backyard. So thank you very much, guys. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe. I will see you all at the next video, and enjoy your holidays and your Christmas. Stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next video.